Good morning, dear hearts. We are now in lesson 182, and please subscribe. New lessons. Today's lesson is I will be still an instant, just an instant, and go home. The world you seem to live in is not home to you, and I know very many people who have felt that way and feel that they need to move around to someplace else looking for a home. I also know of many stories of people who are ready to make their transition, and what they say is, I want to go home. I want to go home. My mother said that before she made her transition. I want to go home, because there is that realization that this place, this world I'm wandering in, this isn't really my home. And that's what this lesson is addressing, and it does so in a very poetic and beautiful way. It's definitely a lesson that we should read to ourselves out loud. And somewhere in your mind, you know that this is true, that this is not home to you. A memory of home keeps haunting you, as if there were a place that called you to return, although you do not recognize the voice, nor what it is the voice reminds you of. Yet still you feel an alien here from somewhere all unknown. Nothing so definite that you could say with certainty that you are in exile here. Just a persistent feeling, sometimes not more than a tiny throb, at other times hardly remembered, actively dismissed, but surely to return to mind again. And then the next line is very Shakespearean. It says, no one but knows whereof we speak, which means we all understand this. We all understand this feeling of not belonging, that this really isn't our home. This is not where I am meant to be. And that is all true. Now, going back to lesson 49, we had our first inkling of this. And that lesson, of course, one of my favorites, that God's voice speaks to me all through the day. And in that lesson, we had, you do not live here. We are trying to reach your real home. We are trying to reach the place where you are truly welcome. We are trying to reach God, because God is our home. Heaven is our home. And we can reach that without all of our defenses that are lined up to keep and block the awareness of the truth of who we are and where we are meant to be. And the lesson, going back to the lesson, it says, we speak today for everyone who walks this world, for he is not at home. He goes uncertainly about in endless search, seeking in darkness what he cannot find, not recognizing what it is he seeks. And going back into the text, there's a wonderful line in chapter 8, speaking of that we are forced to shift ceaselessly from one goal to another, because we're constantly in search of what it is we think we want. There are many, many distractions in this world, and those distractions often will keep us from the realization that, well, I'm not really home, but in the meantime, I can play these games, and that's what we do. There is no substitute for heaven. All we ever made here was hell. Perhaps you think it's your childhood home that you would find again, the childhood of your body and its place of shelter, and a memory now so distorted that you merely hold a picture of a past that never happened. That's why James Joyce, I think it was, said you can't go home again, because that home that we thought we imagined no longer exists. It is in the past, and we are not. We are here. And yet there is a child, a capital C child, the Christ child in you, who seeks his Father's house and knows that he is alien here. This childhood is eternal, with an innocence that will endure forever. It is his holiness that lights up heaven and brings to earth the pure reflection of the light above, wherein are earth and heaven joined as one. As above, so below. This is what we need to recognize. The world that I'm wandering in is not home, but this is the place I am. And as the Course says, heaven is here. There's no other place, but I don't recognize it because I have distorted it. So when I get the light of heaven to come to me and light up my mind and my brother and bring the vision of Christ with me, now I will recognize that earth and heaven are joined as one in that magnificent light that is our inheritance and part of our birth. We are the light of the world. And it is this child in you your Father knows as his son. It is the child who knows his Father. He desires to go home so deeply, unceasingly. His voice cries unto you to let him rest. Let him rest a while, so then he can return and he can breathe again the holy air of heaven. That's what we are seeking to do today, to be still an instant, just an instant, and go home. So this child, it tells us, the lesson tells us, needs our protection, but you will not fail him. He will go home and you along with him. Now, paragraph 7 is particularly beautiful, and I'm going to read that one in full. This child is your defenselessness, your strength. It is your innocence. He trusts in you. He came because he knew you would not fail. He whispers of his home unceasingly to you, for he would bring you back with him, and that he himself might stay and not return again where he does not belong, and where he lives as outcast in this world of alien thoughts. The Christ child, is not at home with this world of ego, alien thoughts, because these are thoughts of war, these are thoughts of anger, these are thoughts of fear, and those are alien to heaven. They are alien to the child that is the Christ child. They are alien to us in truth and to our brother and our Father. His patience has no limits. The Christ child's patience has no limits, and he will wait until you hear his gentle voice within you calling you to let him go in peace along with you to where he is at home and you with him. Remember, we do not go to heaven alone. We always go with our brothers, hand in hand. Place my hand in yours, because we are one, and I do care. So when you are still an instant, when the world recedes from you, when valueless ideas cease to have value in your restless mind, then you will hear his voice. So it does not say meditation, but that is what it is, for us to be still an instant, to go into that space, and we let all the thoughts of this world recede, just drop off. We have no need of them. And as we do that, we find the strength in our defenselessness. We find our innocence. We find the child who is within us and who is wanting to have us take his or her hand and go with us home. Rest with him frequently today, for he was willing to become a little child that you might learn of him how strong he is, who comes without defenses, offering only love's messages to those who think he is their enemy. He holds the might of heaven in his hand and calls them friend, and gives his strength to them that they may see he would be friend to them. He asks that you protect him, for his home is far away and he will not return alone. He will not go back until we go with him. And then to conclude this lesson in paragraph 12, you have not lost your innocence. No matter what we have done, remember, we have not sinned. We have never done anything to mar or to change the truth of who we are as we were created. That is still held for us completely and beautifully in the light of who we are. And it is for this you yearn, that to understand that we haven't lost our innocence, and this our heart's desire, and this is the voice you hear, and this the call which cannot be denied. The Holy Child remains with you. His home is yours, and today he gives you his defenselessness, his innocence, and you accept it in exchange for all the toys of battle you have made, all the weapons, all the sharp objects. We put them down. We let go of everything, all of the defenses that we thought we needed, to realize that in truth we are defenseless. We are in our defenselessness, our safety lies, our strength lies in that, our innocence lies in that. And now the way is open and the journey has an end in sight at last. Be still a moment and go home with him and be at peace a while. Lovely lesson. Again, I would suggest reading it. I'd read a lot of it, but not all of it. And I hope you can find a moment or two today where you can be quiet, you can get still, and go within and see and reach out your hand to that child that is you, and blend together, hold hands together, and go home together. So that's it for today. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please comment, and this is the new one, okay? Little Barbie vibe. So thank you all for being here. Thank you for your well wishes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your support, and have a beautiful, beautiful day. Namaste.